Toma opened his eyes slowly. His head felt heavy. His arms were stiff. The air around him was quiet, too quiet. No sound came from anywhere. He sat up and looked around. The room was white from top to bottom. The walls were smooth and clean. There were no windows. There were no doors. He tried to remember how he came here, but his mind was blank. His last memory was walking home at night. Then nothing. Suddenly he felt something cold and soft holding his hand. He looked down. A girl was sitting beside him. She had silver eyes and glowing skin. Her long hair floated in the air like it had no weight. She was not human. Toma pulled his hand back fast. He stood up in shock. But something felt strange. He looked at his hand and froze. The hand she had been holding was not his. It was a machine hand, smooth and gray, made of metal and wires. But he could feel her touch through it. "What is this?" he said out loud. The girl looked up at him. She seemed scared but calm. Her lips moved and her voice was soft. "Do not leave. They are watching." Toma stepped back. "Who are you? What is this place?" She looked around before answering. "This is the cube, a test room. You were taken, like me." Toma looked at the walls again. He saw no way out. No light came from above, but the room was still bright. "Who took us?" he asked. "They do not speak. They only take. They use pieces from many, to build new ones, to see if minds break or not." Toma touched his chest, then his legs. Everything else felt like his own body. Only the hand was different. It moved when he thought about it. It responded like it belonged to him. He looked at the girl again. "What is your name?" She thought for a moment. "Eerie. Are you from Earth?" She shook her head. "Far from here. I was taken long ago, many rooms before this one. You are new." Toma sat back down. He felt strange. Half of his mind wanted to scream. The other half told him to stay calm. Eerie did not move away. She sat beside him again and held his hand gently. "Why are you holding my hand?" he asked. She looked at him without blinking. "It helps. When fear grows." The cube watches fear. Toma looked into her eyes. There was pain inside them, and something else. Hope. He pulled his hand away again, but slower this time. "What do they want from us?" "To study, to learn. But they do not understand us. They only take pieces. They think we are machines. So they test like machines." Toma stood up again. He walked to one wall and hit it hard. It made no sound. His fist hurt, but the wall stayed the same. He tried yelling, but the sound didn't echo. It was like the room swallowed every noise. Eerie stood too. "Be careful. The cube changes. When you fight, it learns. It makes the next room harder." "So we just sit here?" Toma asked. "No. We wait. We think. We plan. We remember." Toma sat back down. He closed his eyes for a moment. His breathing slowed. He tried to think clearly. He still had his mind. That was something. "Even if they changed his body, they didn't take his thoughts. Can you feel them watching us?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes, I feel them now." He looked up. "Where are the cameras?" "No cameras. They feel thoughts. They see through the cube." Toma shook his head. "Then they know what I'm thinking right now." "They do. But that is not bad. You are strong. They will try harder now. But you must not give up." Toma stared at her. "Why do you care?" She looked at the hand again. "Because you are the first one who is still thinking. Others cried. Others gave up. You are trying to understand. That is rare here." Toma smiled. A little. "Then maybe we break this place together." She smiled too, a small smile. "Maybe we do." He stood again and walked to the corner of the room. He touched the wall gently. It was smooth but warm, not like a machine, more like skin. He pressed his ear to it. He thought he heard a hum, very low and soft. "They are alive," he said quietly. "Yes, the walls breathe. That is why they can." "Change? The cube grows like a plant?" Toma turned to her. "Can it die?" "I do not know. No one has tried. Most just want to escape. But the cube does not have a door. You must make the door. How? By not thinking like a test subject. Think like a builder. They use your thoughts to shape the next room. So change your thoughts." Toma sat down again. He closed his eyes and thought of something simple. A green field, a river, a tree, a path, a door. He felt something move in the air. Irie opened her eyes wide. "You did something. The wall is changing." Toma stood. One wall had become slightly curved. A small light blinked in the center. "We are not trapped," he said. "We were asleep, but now we are awake." The light grew brighter. Irie grabbed his hand again. This time he didn't pull back. "Stay close," he said. "I will," she replied, and the cube began to change again. Toma stood still and watched the blinking light on the wall. It was small, no bigger than his thumb, but it looked like the first sign of hope. He moved closer and raised his hand, the one made of metal. As he reached out, the light changed from white to soft blue. The wall around it grew warm. Irie stood behind him, silent. Her silver eyes followed his every move. Toma touched the light. It felt like a heartbeat. For a second, nothing happened. Then a slow ripple moved across the wall, like water touched by wind. The surface turned soft, then pulled back. A small hole opened, showing another room behind it. Without speaking, Toma stepped inside. Irie followed. The new room was darker. The walls were black, smooth, and the air was cooler. There was a strange humming sound, like many machines working far away. This room had no corners. It was shaped like a dome. In the center, there was a mirror. Toma walked to it and looked at his reflection. He froze. His face looked the same, but his eyes were glowing with a faint blue light. He leaned closer. His left eye twitched on its own. The light grew brighter for a second, then dimmed. He stepped back. Irie spoke softly. "You are changing. They are testing new levels on you." "What does that mean?" Toma asked. "It means they are not done with you. You are becoming something they want to understand." Toma stared at the mirror again. Then he looked at his metal hand. It moved like it was alive. Each finger bent with perfect control. But something was wrong. The more he looked at it, the more it felt like it didn't belong. He turned to Irie. "This isn't just a fake hand." "Is it?" She walked forward. "No, it belonged to someone before. They use parts from others. The cube joins them. Now it is yours." Toma felt sick. "Then whose hand is this?" "I do not know, but it works because your mind accepted it. They want to see how much of someone else you can carry." He looked down again. His fingers were long, smooth, and cold. Yet he could feel the floor when he touched it. He could feel Irie's hand when she held his. Somehow, this machine part was fully connected to him. "I feel everything through it. Even warmth. Even pain." Irie nodded. "That is the test. You are more than yourself now. But can you still stay you?" Toma walked around the mirror. The back of it was plain. No wires, no controls, no marks, just a smooth black surface. Suddenly the mirror turned on again, but this time it showed something different. It was not Toma. It was a memory. He saw a space station floating above a red planet. A man was running through the hallway of the station. His hand, the same machine hand, reached for a control panel. Alarms were sounding, lights were flashing red. The man yelled something, but no sound came through the mirror. Then the image faded. Toma stood frozen. "That was real," he whispered. "I saw someone else's memory." Irie looked at the mirror, too. They are showing you where the hand came from. The cube connects memories to parts. The more you use the hand, the more you remember what it knew. But I don't want that. I want my own memories. You must fight it then. You must hold your own mind stronger than the memories they give. Toma took a deep breath. He stepped away from the mirror. They want me to lose who I am. I won't let them. The room changed. Again. The walls rippled and turned blue. A soft light filled the space. The humming sound grew louder. Eerie looked around quickly. It is reacting to you. You are making it move faster than it should. Toma looked at the wall behind the mirror. A new shape was forming. It looked like a door, but it was not complete. Lines moved across it like slow lightning. He walked toward it. Is this the way? Out. Eerie shook her head. No, it is not the end. It is the next part. A deeper room. Each room learns from your thoughts. The deeper you go, the harder it becomes. Toma stood in front of the half-formed door. He placed his metal hand on it. This time he focused on his own memories, his family, his home, a simple meal with friends. A walk in the rain. The door started to form faster. The lines became clear. The shape turned solid. Irie touched his arm. You are making the cube shape itself to your thoughts. That is power. But it is also danger. They will not allow this forever. Toma looked at her. Then, we go forward, before they change the game again. The door opened with a slow, breath-like sound. Beyond it was a tunnel, dark and wide, with a soft green glow on the floor. They stepped through together as they walked. Toma felt something in his mind shift. A strange memory tried to enter. A planet covered in fire, ships falling from the sky, voices screaming in a language he didn't know. He stopped and grabbed his head. Irie turned quickly. They are pushing new data into you. You must push it out. Toma closed his eyes. He thought again of the rain, the smell of the earth, his mother's voice, a song he used to hum. The pain faded. He opened his eyes. They want me to forget myself, but I won't, Irie nodded. Good. That is the only way to win here. They kept walking. The tunnel opened into another room. This one had no floor. Toma looked down and saw stars beneath his feet. He stepped back. But the ground under him vanished. He and Irie began to fall, but they did not scream. They held each other's hands, and they did not let go. Toma and Irie were falling, but there was no wind, no weight, no sound. Just endless falling through a space filled with stars. Below them, lights moved like small fireflies. Above them, there was only black. Toma looked at Irie. She was calm. Her hair floated around her like a soft cloud. She held his hand tight. We are not falling. We are being moved, she said. Toma looked around. He believed her. They were not in space. They were inside the cube still. It was only showing them stars. Then the falling stopped. A soft light appeared below. Their feet touched something solid but invisible. They were now standing in another room. This one was darker, cooler, and quiet. The lights around them floated gently. Some were red. Some were white. Others blinked in soft colors. What is this place? Toma asked. Irie looked around slowly. This is the memory room. They use it to test who you are. Each light holds a memory. Some are yours, some are not. The room tries to mix them. Toma touched a red light. It floated closer. The moment it touched his skin, he saw something in his mind. He was running through a metal hallway. Alarms were loud. The floor shook. The same metal hand reached for a panel. Then the image vanished. He stepped back. That was not my memory. That was his again. The man from before. Irie nodded. Yes, his memory lives in the hand. It wants to take your thoughts and mix them. If you lose control, you forget who you are. Toma stayed quiet. He didn't want to lose himself. He didn't want to become someone else. More lights floated toward him. They touched his skin and showed him more visions. A broken ship, a battle, a girl crying in a dark room, a fire in space. He stepped away, but the lights followed him eerie, walked closer. She touched one of the lights and saw something too. Her eyes closed and a tear fell down her cheek. "What did you see?" Toma asked. "My first day in the cube. I saw my sister. I called her name, but she didn't move. She became part of the wall." Toma wanted to say something, but no words came. Instead, he stepped beside her and held her hand. His metal hand felt cold, but Irie didn't pull away. More lights floated around them. The room became brighter. Toma closed his eyes. He began to think of his own memories. Not the ones from the cube, real ones. From Earth, he remembered his small home, his brother laughing, the smell of books in his school, the sound of birds in the morning, the feel of warm food. The lights around him changed color. Some of them turned green, some turned blue. A few backed away. Irie opened her eyes. "You are pushing them back. That is rare. The cube is not used to that." "I won't forget who I am," Toma said. "Even if they put 100 fake memories in me." Suddenly, the floor beneath them moved. A mirror rose from the center of the room. It was tall, round, and bright. The glass shimmered like water. It showed both of them standing together. Then the mirror changed. It showed a new image. Toma was alone. His eyes were glowing completely blue. He stood inside a glass tube. Wires were connected to his back. His face was calm, but empty. Irie stepped back. It is showing the future. If you give in, that is what you become. Toma looked into the mirror. He stared at the version of himself with no soul. His hands were still. His mouth did not move. He looked like a statue. "That's not me," he said. "Not now. Not ever." The mirror changed again. Now it showed Irie. She was floating inside a cube filled with lights. She was not moving. Her eyes were closed. She looked peaceful, but alone. Irie touched the glass. "That is what I feared most, being left alone, forever watched, forever quiet." Toma turned to her. "We are not alone. We're here now, together." She smiled, but only a little. The mirror started to crack. A single line ran through the center, then another, then many. Light poured out from the cracks. The room began to shake. The floor trembled. Toma stepped back. "What's happening?" "You changed the mirror." "It was not ready for your mind," Irie said. "You broke their plan again." A sound filled the room. Not loud, just deep and slow, like a drum beating far away. The lights around them started spinning. The walls melted into each other. The mirror shattered into dust. Then a voice echoed across the room. It was not male or female. It had no shape. "Subject 43 has exceeded limit. Prepare for next phase." Toma looked around. "Who said that?" Irie looked up. "It is them. The ones who made the cube. The minds." The room began to break apart. The lights vanished. The floor fell away. Again, Toma and Irie were floating, but this time they were not falling. They were being lifted. The space around them turned black, then bright, then black again, like a machine resetting, like a dream changing into another dream. Finally, they landed in a new room. This one had no walls, no floor, just floating shapes and moving lights. The stars were above, and below. Irie looked weak. Her skin had lost its glow. She touched her head and closed her eyes. "I can't hold on much longer. The cube is draining me, taking my memories." Toma grabbed her hand with both of his. "You're not leaving me, not now, not after everything. I'll help you remember." He closed his eyes and started speaking. He told her a story from Earth. A story about a small boy and a dog, about a rainy day and a warm fire, about a song he used to sing when he was scared. Eerie listened. Her breath became steady. Her skin began to glow again. The lights around them slowed down. The stars blinked gently. The cube had quieted. Toma opened his eyes. "You're still here?" Irie nodded. "Yes, because you reminded me. Because you held on." Toma stood up and looked around. "We move forward. Whatever test comes, next we face it together." Irie stood beside him. Together, and the cube started changing again. Toma and Irie stood side by side. Around them, the room shifted again. The lights faded. The stars above and below slowly disappeared. In their place, a new space opened. There was no floor under their feet now, only a deep, dark space filled with floating lights. Some lights moved slowly. Some spun in circles. Others blinked like they were alive. Toma looked down. There was nothing below him, just emptiness. "I don't think there's a floor anymore," he said. Irie nodded. "This is the gravity room. It tests your balance, not just your body, your thoughts too." Toma felt weightless. He lifted his foot and floated upward. When he moved his hand, his whole body drifted. Irie moved slowly toward him. She had done this before. She floated with control. Her body moved like she was swimming through air. "You must stay calm," she said. "If your thoughts get too fast, your body will move too fast. That is how people lose control here." Toma breathed slowly. He tried not to think too much. He closed his eyes and pictured still water, a quiet lake, a slow breeze. When he opened his eyes, he floated gently, just like Irie. The lights in the room began to move closer. They were small, glowing orbs, soft and bright. Each one hummed gently, like a whisper. One light floated near Toma's face. It touched his forehead. A flash of memory hit him. A soldier stood on a burning planet. His body was broken, but he kept fighting. That soldier had the same metal hand Toma now had. The same glowing eye. Toma pushed the memory away. He touched his chest and felt his heartbeat. It was fast but strong. "They are testing me again," he said. Irie nodded. "These lights are memory seeds. They try to enter your mind. If you let them in, you forget who you are." Another light floated toward Irie. She moved her hand slowly and guided it away. "They are soft. They don't force you, but they are endless. If you accept too many, your mind is not yours anymore," she said. Toma looked around. There were hundreds of lights. Some followed him. Some circled above. He tried to stay calm, but one of them touched his arm. Another touched his neck. More memories flooded in. A city in the sky, a crash, a voice calling for help, a machine crawling across metal ruins. Each image felt real, but none of them were his. He shook his head. "I don't want these. I don't want someone else's life." The lights grew brighter. They moved faster. The room reacted to his fear. His body spun without control. His heart raced. Irie grabbed his hand. "Focus on your name. Speak it out loud." "Toma," he said. "My name is Toma." "Say it again," Irie said. "Toma, I am Toma, from Earth. I had a family. I had a home." The lights stopped. The movement slowed. His body became steady again. The room grew calm. Irie smiled. "You held your mind. That is the real test." Toma nodded. "This place wants to erase us, piece by piece." "Yes. But we can still fight. Memory is not just what we see. It is also what we feel. What we choose to keep," Irie said. They floated together, hand in hand. The lights backed away. Some drifted into the dark space and vanished. Then, without warning, the walls of the room returned. The lights went out. A soft platform appeared under their feet. They landed gently. Toma took a deep breath. Irie looked around carefully. The room now had a smooth floor. The walls were silver and round. In the center of the room, a new shape formed. It was a large cube, black and silent. It stood without movement. But something about it felt dangerous. "What is that?" Toma asked. Irie stepped forward slowly. "That is the memory core. It controls the seed lights. It stores all the minds they have taken. If we touch it, we might see everything," Toma frowned. "Is that safe?" "No," Irie said. "But it may help us understand the system. It may show us how to break it." Toma walked closer to the cube. He touched it with his metal hand. The surface was cold, like ice. It hummed under his fingers. Suddenly, the cube lit up. A screen appeared on one side. It showed faces, hundreds of faces. Human, alien, young, old, all looking forward with empty eyes. "These are the ones they tested," Irie said. "Some gave up, some were broken, some are still trapped." Toma saw a face that looked familiar. It was the soldier from his visions, the one with the metal hand. The screen showed his name, Loro, age unknown. Status. Erased, Toma felt his chest grow heavy. They used his body, his memories, and now he's gone. Irie nodded. "But part of him is in you. Maybe that part can help free the others." Toma stared at the cube. "How do we destroy this?" "I don't know," Irie said. "But maybe we don't destroy it. Maybe we use it. Send a signal. Let someone know we are inside." Toma looked at the screen again. A small panel opened below it. A blinking button appeared. Irie looked at it. "This is new. I've never seen this before," she said. Toma looked at her. "Maybe it's here because I'm still fighting. Maybe they're watching and trying something new." He pressed the button. The screen blinked. Then a voice filled the room. "Test subject 43 and 17. Emotional resistance detected. Preparing higher threat level." The cube shut down. The lights vanished. The room went dark. Irie grabbed Toma's hand tight. "We pushed too far. Now they send the Guardian." "What's the Guardian?" Toma asked. She looked at him with fear in her eyes. "The shape with no face." Suddenly, a deep sound echoed through the room. A new door opened across the wall. From the darkness, something tall stepped forward. It had no face, no mouth, no eyes, only smooth metal and long arms that moved like shadows. Toma stood tall. His heart beat fast, but his feet stayed still. He didn't plan to run. The tall figure stepped out from the open door. It had no face, no mouth, no eyes. Its skin was silver, smooth, and cold like the walls of the cube. It moved without sound. Its long arms floated near its sides, slow and controlled. Toma stood in front of Irie, his body tense. His heart beat faster with each second. He looked into the smooth surface of the creature's head. There was nothing there, but still, he could feel it watching him. Irie whispered behind him. "That is the Guardian. It appears only when a subject breaks the rules. It doesn't speak. It only tests with fear." Toma kept his voice steady. "What does it want from us?" "It wants to erase your will. If you give up, it wins," she said. The Guardian moved forward. Its body made no footsteps. Its arms stretched slowly. One hand reached toward Toma's chest. Toma took a step back, but not in fear. He stood ready. "It won't get in my mind," he said. The Guardian's fingers came close to his shoulder. Just before it touched, Toma raised his metal hand and pushed it away. The Guardian stopped. For a moment, it didn't move at all. Then its arms dropped and it stepped back. Irie's eyes widened. "You stopped it. That should not be possible." Toma looked at his hand. "Maybe this is not just a piece. Maybe it's a key. Maybe the man who had this before found a way to fight too. The Guardian raised both arms again. This time, a wave of energy pulsed from its chest. The walls of the room turned red. The floor shook. The cube was reacting. Toma and Irie were thrown to the side. Toma hit the ground hard. Sparks shot from his metal fingers. Irie rolled across the floor and stood again with effort. The Guardian floated into the air and formed sharp spikes from its arms. They pointed down toward Toma. Toma stood up. His body hurt, but he didn't back away. "I'm not afraid of you," he said. "I've seen your lies. I've seen the truth. I know what I am." The Guardian dropped to the floor. It moved faster. Now. One arm slashed through the air toward Toma. He blocked it with his metal hand. Sparks flew. The sound was loud and sharp. The second arm came from the side. Irie jumped forward and kicked it. The Guardian didn't fall, but it staggered back. One step together, they stood facing it. Irie took a deep breath. "We have to confuse it, break its pattern. It learns from fear, so we must act without fear." Toma nodded. "Then we don't run. We run toward it." He rushed forward. The Guardian swung again. Toma ducked under its arm and slammed his metal hand into its chest. A crack formed on its surface. The Guardian screamed without sound. Its body flickered like a broken light. Irie ran behind it and kicked the back of its leg. It stumbled. Toma jumped and punched again. The crack spread. A red light leaked out. Irie yelled, "One more time! Break the shell!" Toma focused. He felt the strength in his arm. Not just metal, but memory. He saw the soldier again in his mind. Loro, the one who had this hand before. He saw him fighting. He felt his courage. Toma used that memory. He punched with full strength. The metal cracked wide open. The Guardian's chest exploded with light. The figure froze, then shattered into pieces. The room fell silent. The red light vanished. The walls turned white again. Irie dropped to her knees, breathing hard. "It's over. You did it. You beat the Guardian." Toma stood over the broken pieces. He looked at his hand. It was cracked, smoking, but still whole. "I didn't do it alone," he said. "We did it together, and someone else helped us too. The man who owned this hand. His fight lives in me." Irie stood up. "Then we must finish what he started. We must escape. End the cube forever." As the dust settled, a new sound came from the wall, a slow clicking noise. Then a section of the wall opened. Behind it was a narrow hallway with lights on the ceiling. It was dark, but not empty. Toma looked at Irie. "Another room?" She nodded. "No, this is different. This is outside the cube, the real structure, where they watch from." They stepped into the hallway. The door behind them closed. The hallway stretched far, with walls covered in strange symbols. Wires ran across the ceiling. Small lights blinked in slow patterns. Some made soft beeping sounds. The floor was metal and cold under their feet. Toma saw screens on the walls. They showed other rooms. Some were cubes. Some were round. Some were dark. Inside, he saw other people. Some were awake. Some were still. Others looked lost. "These are the other test subjects," Irie said. "We are not the only ones." Toma stopped in front of one screen. He saw a young boy sitting alone in a bright room, holding his knees. "We need to help them," Toma said. "We can't open their doors yet," Irie replied. "We must reach the main system. Then we can free them all." They kept walking. At the end of the hallway was another door. This one had a hand scanner on the side. Toma raised his metal hand. "Let's see if this works." He placed it on the scanner. A green light blinked. The door opened. Behind it was a wide chamber. Machines lined the walls. In the center was a tall tower of light spinning slowly. Energy moved through tubes and cables around it. "This is the core," Irie said. "Where they control everything." Toma stepped forward. "Then this is where it ends." As they walked into the chamber, a voice echoed from above. You were never meant to come this far. But now you are here. You must choose. Obey and survive, or resist and vanish. Toma looked up at the ceiling. We choose to resist. We choose to stay human. The voice paused, then replied. Then prepare for the final test. Toma and Irie stood inside the large chamber. The glowing tower in the center pulsed softly. The air smelled like cold metal and electricity. Machines hummed all around. Tubes and wires ran from the tower to the walls and ceiling. This place feels alive, Toma said. Like it breathes, Irie nodded. The core controls everything. It is the mind of the cube. If we destroy it, the whole system will collapse. Toma looked around. The chamber had many doors. Some were open, showing dark hallways. Others were closed tight. We need to find the control room, Toma said. Somewhere here is the brain that keeps the cube alive. Irie touched the tower gently. It won't be easy. The cube will defend itself. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The machines came to life. Small drones crawled out from hidden holes. They looked like metal insects with many legs and glowing eyes. Toma grabbed Irie's hand. We have to move fast. They ran toward a door on the far side. It was marked with strange symbols glowing faintly. The drones followed, clicking and crawling. Irie found a panel next to the door. She pressed a symbol. The door hissed and slid open. Inside was a narrow hallway with pipes and cables. The air was colder here. The walls were lined with glass chambers. Inside each chamber was a person or alien. Some were sleeping. Others stared blankly ahead. Toma stopped. Are they alive? Irie looked sad. Yes, but trapped. Their minds are connected to the cube. They wait to be freed or forgotten. Toma walked along the glass. He saw faces of different ages and species. Some looked scared. Some looked tired. One chamber held a woman with blue skin. She blinked slowly and smiled faintly at him. We can save them, Toma said. But first we have to reach the control room. They continued through the hallway. The drones kept close, but Irie moved quickly. She knew the paths from her memories. Some tunnels were hidden behind panels. Some doors had secret locks. At one point, a drone blocked their path. It raised sharp legs and clicked loudly. Toma stepped forward. He raised his metal hand. A bright light shot from his fingers. The drone froze, then powered down. Irie smiled. Your hand is a weapon. We must use it well. They reached a wide room with many screens and controls. The center had a large console glowing with blue light. This must be the control room, Toma said. Irie nodded. If we can shut down this system, we free everyone. Toma approached the console. The screen showed maps of the cube. They saw all the rooms and the subjects inside. He found a large red button. This must be the shutdown. Irie grabbed his arm. Wait, there may be traps. The cube will try to stop us. Toma looked at the screens again. Suddenly, alarms sounded. The lights turned red. The machines around them powered up. A voice echoed through the room. Shutdown denied. Security activated. From the shadows. Metal arms shot out. They tried to grab Toma and Irie. They dodged quickly. Irie pulled Toma behind a console. We have to fight. Toma raised his metal hand again. Bright energy shot out. It broke the arms one by one. More arms came. Irie found a control panel and pressed buttons. Lights flashed. The machine slowed down. Toma saw the red button again. He moved fast and pressed it. The alarms stopped. The lights turned white. The machines powered down one by one. Irie smiled. You did it. Suddenly, the glass chambers opened. The trapped subjects woke up. They looked around, confused, but free. One by one, they stepped out. Some were weak. Others looked strong and ready. Toma and Irie helped them. The blue-skinned woman smiled again and thanked them softly. Outside the control room, the cube began to shake. The walls cracked. The ceiling moved like it was falling. We have to leave now, Eerie said. Toma nodded. He held her hand tight. Together, they led the freed subjects through the tunnels. The cube was breaking. Lights flickered. The floor trembled beneath their feet. They reached a large door. It opened to a dark hallway. Outside was a strange ship. The stars shone above. A rescue team waited there, humans in suits holding equipment ready to help. Toma smiled. We are saved. Eerie looked at him with hope. The fight is over, for now. They stepped out of the cube and into the fresh air. Of freedom, Toma stepped out of the broken cube. The fresh air filled his lungs. The stars above shone bright and clear. Around him, other freed people stood quietly. Still trying to believe they were free, Eerie stood beside him, holding his metal hand. Her silver eyes looked softer now, filled with hope. For the first time, she smiled without fear. A group of humans in clean suits approached. Their faces showed relief and kindness. One of them, a woman with warm eyes, spoke softly. You are safe. Now, we came to find the lost, the forgotten. We did not expect to find anyone alive inside, Toma nodded. We fought to stay alive, to remember who we are. Eerie looked at the woman. Thank you for coming, for saving us. The woman smiled. It was not just luck. Your courage sent a signal. Someone inside was fighting back. We followed it here. Toma thought about the hand. The metal hand that had given him strength and memories. The hand that was not his, but had become part of him by. Feel like I carry two lives inside me, he said. My own and the one who had this hand before. Eerie squeezed his hand. That is a gift. You carry their fight with you. Their courage lives in you. The woman nodded. And now you are free to live your own life. But first, we must help the others. They need care, rest, and hope. The freed people began to move toward the ship. Some stumbled, weak from years inside the cube. Others looked around with wide eyes, unsure of what was real. Toma and Eerie stayed near the ship's door. The sky above was full of stars. The night was calm and quiet. It felt like a new beginning. Eerie looked at Toma. What will you do now, Toma? Smiled softly. I will remember. I will live. And I will help others like us. We must warn the galaxy about the cube. She nodded. Yes. The cube is still out there, waiting, testing more minds. We must stop it. Suddenly, the woman in the suit returned. We found something inside the cube, a message. A warning from the one who built it. Toma and Eerie looked at each other. What does it say? Toma asked. The woman held a small device. It says the cube was meant to test the limits of mind and body, to build a perfect being. But it warns that true strength comes from heart and will, not parts or memories. Eerie smiled. That is what we proved. We are more than machines. Toma looked at the stars. This is only the beginning. We must be ready for what comes next. The ship's doors closed behind them. The engines hummed softly. The stars seemed brighter now. Together, Toma and Eerie stepped forward, free at last, ready to face a new future.